Hi friends, welcome to another First Look. Today we're going to take a short look at the new Springfield Armory Hellcat Pro. Call it a biggie size version of their standard Hellcat. We're going to do a little shooting and talk about the differences between the two, and do you really need a bigger Hellcat? Stay tuned and find out. In my earlier looks at the Hellcat series of pistols, I actually really liked the gun really fast. But like any smaller gun, I'd call this sort of a small to pocket size 9mm. Everything's smaller, right? The grip is smaller, the slide is shorter, so they're a little bit more of a challenge to manipulate, and they certainly recoil just a little bit more. And what I have found historically is that when a company introduces a small gun like this, it's usually followed up with a little bigger version. And that's exactly what's happened here. Here we have the original Hellcat, and here is the new Hellcat Pro. And you can see that there's just a little bit of difference, call it 3/4 of an inch in length and in the length of the grip. But boy, I'm here to tell you the difference is really significant. Okay, well, what you end up with basically is a gun that holds 2 more rounds, slightly longer slide, which means slightly easier to manipulate, which means slightly longer aiming plane, and a slightly longer grip. And all of that together add up to sort of a bigger number than each a little bit independently. The overall effect is to have a gun that's much more comfortable to hold, much more easier to control when shooting. Frankly, I find it a little easier to hit with, I think, because of that controllability. But the things that you compromise is that you do give up concealability. Now, what do I mean by giving up concealability? Well, in a pinch, I can carry my original Hellcat in the pocket of like a, cargo shorts or a set of BDUs or, a looser pants. I'm certainly not in a pair of Levi's or something. I can also put it in the coat pocket of my sort of chore coat, even in the inner vest pocket of my vest that I'm wearing now. With the Hellcat Pro, I certainly can't call this a pocket pistol, at least for somebody my size. This gun really needs a dedicated inside the waistband or appendix carry type holster, an outside the waistband holster. I favor a gun like this in a vertical strong side, very simple scabbard, something out of Kydex or something out of leather. Having said that, it is compact, smooth, and light enough that you can carry it like that, and it's not intrusive at all. The standard gun comes with the ability to install a sight, but it doesn't come with the sight. I don't carry a sight like this on my everyday carry gun, but I do like to sort of experiment with them and try them out and see how they work on new gun platforms. And like any red dot sight, it takes some getting used to. I found in this situation, I kind of shoot it about the same with the sight and without. Speaking of that, let's do a little shooting. Okay, we're geared up with our safety equipment. I'm at about 15 yards. I've got 10 rounds in the magazine, and I'll actually be shooting with the iron sights and ignoring the red dot because I want to give that a try, and I also want you to see that it's actually possible to do, and it's pretty seamless. The transition is actually pretty easy. I think the challenge is if you bring it up and say, oh no, where's the red dot, and you can't find it, then you have to wrap your brain around transitioning to the iron sight. So make sure you train for that. All right, let's see what happens here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to sort of shoot for a group. Well, other than the fact I lost my mind on a couple of them, I think once I settle down, you can see that the gun actually shoots pretty well. Let's go up and take a peek. Well, you saw it happen at the same time I saw it happen, and there was no special effects used here. I confess the first couple shots kind of caught me off guard, and the red dot was distracting to me because for a microsecond I went, okay, do I use the red dot or do I use the iron sights? And so I think that's actually living proof why you really do need to train with it. And I haven't trained with this gun at all. Once I settled in though, and I kind of got my brain around what I was doing, you can see that it settled in pretty nicely. So I had a center aiming point here, and so I don't know if that's just the way that I was pressing the trigger, or if at 15 yards the gun is actually shooting a little bit low. I'll be shooting it some more for a feature article, and then I'll get a better handle on that. But at 15 yards, I mean, goodness gracious, we're still, you know, very effective, and I like the fact that it's well centered. And this is about how I shoot my other Hellcat, but I will say, with my original Hellcat, I've shot it a lot, so I'm really comfortable with it. I have a feeling if I continued shooting the bigger grip, longer slide of the Hellcat Pro, that you'll see more consistency and probably slightly tighter groups. Okay, what did I learn today? I learned that the slightly longer, slightly taller Hellcat Pro is easier to shoot than the original Hellcat, but it makes sense. There's more to grip, a longer sight radius, and I just think overall it might be easier for you, especially if you're more of a beginning shooter. The small pocket versions of guns are usually more of a challenge to hit reliably with, and are a little bit more challenging to manipulate because everything's smaller. But having said that, I think what we have here is, you know, that biggie size version of the Hellcat. So you've got all the features and benefits of the original Hellcat, the ability to mount an optic if you want very easily, and the rails so you can hang your favorites, you know, light and laser, whatever you got there. I really like this grip technology, and my Hellcat has certainly proven to be absolutely, you know, dead nuts reliable in the last couple of years, and this one looks to be the same. So I think if you're looking for something like this, not really a tiny pocket gun, more of a medium-sized holster gun, I think this is a really good option for you. And they're about $600 to $650, give or take a little bit. Shop around, see what you can find. And hey, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and subscribe if you would. If you have questions, please feel free to post them down in the comment section. I keep an eye on those things, and I'll answer them if I can. And until I see you, remember the 4 firearm safety rules and take a new shooter shooting. All right, thanks for tuning in.